Well, loungers. Look at the chickens coming home to rooster. So, I got to talk about the elephant in the room because there's a whole lot going on up in these YouTube streets. And yeah, I had some things that I wanted to say about it. Certainly, I've been talking lately about the moon cycles coming back and how it's amazing how many of things get exposed, but it's not even something that you have to do. You don't have to actually expose people who disrespect or hurt or mistreat you when they expose themselves. Okay. And we are going to talk about this heavy today. I'm not going to be long. I did have some other things I needed to do today, but I am going to talk about that. I also wanted to talk about Bishop Whitehead and his antics and all the stuff that he has been caught up in lately. Got a couple of unpopular opinions for you guys as well. And I also wanted to talk about a side hustle gig that I just started and how much money I'm making on it and whether or not this is something that you may even want to try or even do full time if it's, if you're looking for money or you're looking for extra work. All right, so we are going to get into these hot topics this morning, and let's go ahead and get started, guys.
It's Block Lounge Entertainment, and the time is right with T-Pre.
I hope everybody is doing as great as me. Shout out to all of you for being in the building. Truly appreciate you guys. Hey, TMK, I appreciate you. Josephine, I appreciate you being in the building. Also, breaking the culture of silence, I appreciate you as well. And Dr. Nikki Proctor Walden, I always appreciate you, sis. And also, the beautiful Bernice that just stepped in. I also appreciate you for being in the building as well. Shout out to you guys for always tuning in, always checking out the show. And for all of you who are in the clouds and those who will catch the replay, I truly appreciate you guys as well. We've got a few great topics that I wanted to talk about today. I'm going to start off with a side hustle that I just started, okay? And I want you guys to know about it because, if you've ever thought about doing this, and thought about maybe possibly making some extra money or even replacing the current job that you have with part-time hours, it is absolutely possible to do so. There's multiple ways of making side money. And as you guys know, I've told you guys about a few hustles that I have where I do make side money. But none of them are truly life-changing per se. They do bring extra income into the household. They bring extra income in different ways. But this particular side hustle that I just started actually has the potential to replace my career, okay? And actually replace the money that I make with my job, and in a way where it's part-time hours as opposed to full-time. So Amazon Flex is something that I just started. I started this on Monday, and well, Monday night or so. I'm often up at times at nighttime, and I'm always up in the mornings. Okay, so doing this hustle in the morning or doing this hustle in the night at nighttime is very, very lucrative income. Okay, you get paid twice a week. You get paid on Tuesday and on Friday. So if you need like extra gas money, extra money for a bill, extra money for the kids, extra money for whatever, this is a wonderful, wonderful way to do this. Now, you can do this part time, where you're working a couple of hours here, a couple of hours there, or you can make this full time, okay, and do this full time. It's not going to be full time hours like you would be at your job, but you're going to do the amount of time if you did put in the amount of time that you put in at your job, you're going to make double the money. Okay, unless you're like a rocket scientist or you're an astronaut or something like that, this would be the side hustle to take, and this would be the side hustle to look into. Yes, now the downside to it, I will say there is a downside that I found. Actually, two downsides. One would be gas. Okay, gas is astronomically high right now. So it is a hustle where you must use gas unless you have a Tesla or some other type of electrical vehicle. You are going to use gas with this, and Amazon is not going to reimburse you for gas, okay, if you're a flex driver. Um, so you got to find a way around that. If you got, money already in the bank, that's a plus because then you don't have to worry about putting so much, or trying to find ways to find gas. That should be money that should be set aside. So if you are going to become a flex driver, make sure that you have a plan when it comes to gas, okay? Because they're going to send you out. They might send you like an hour away from your house. They might send you up to 2 hours, depending on where you live, and so forth. They're not going to send you much further than that, though. It's not going to be like a place where you're just going to be so far away from home that it would be difficult to even get back home. Okay. That's not going to happen. It's usually going to be somewhere in the area, somewhere that you can in the vicinity, within an hour or so of where you actually your home base or where you live. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that. But the money itself is really good. You also know exactly what you're getting paid before you even go on the trip. Okay. So that's something very different from some of my other side hustles like Uber and Lyft, and some other things, because with those, it's kind of the luck of the draw. You might get a really long trip that'll give you good money with Uber and Lyft, or with the, or you might get something really short that's a couple minutes away that isn't really worth, the gas or worth the time. And just for a couple pennies. But with this, you actually know exactly what you're getting paid before you even accept the job. So you know exactly what kind of money you're going to make. And that is what gives you the potential to replace your actual job. Okay. Because if you know that this is what you look at every week on your job, or if you know that this is what you're looking at monthly on your job, you can easily plan part time hours around that and make the money that you want. So that is just something to think about. There are plenty of hours available for those of you. Well, for in my area, I'm not sure about other areas though, but you can definitely check it out. You want to email or you want to Google Amazon Flex, and then there is a special app that you have to download that you cannot download from the Play Store or from the App Store. You have to get this directly from Amazon. So make sure that you guys, if you're interested in it, make sure you look into it because again, if you have a decent vehicle, it is very worth the extra income. We know we've got the holidays coming up. Towards the end of the year, there's some home repairs you might have to do that your insurance might not cover or something of that nature. You might need some extra cash. So this is an excellent and lucrative way to make that money. And yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that, let you guys know about that. Yes, you said I'm always down for making some extra money. Yes, and it is very, very a really good way to do so. Hey, sometimes I appreciate you being in the building. You said, hey, good morning to all the smart people. You said, Kay can't hide. Can't hide said, good morning, Miss T. Pre, Breaking the Culture, TMK, Josephine, and Dr. Nikki. And you said, good morning, T. Pre and chat. You said hey to TMK and hey to Can't Hide and hey to Carrie Ann and Josephine. And you said my side hustle is sleeping. I need to get paid to take naps. Girl, if I could do that, there's gotta be a way, right? Josephine, mine too. You said LOL, beautiful Bernice. Yes, Amazon Flex is a really, really good side hustle. And like I said, it is possible to actually replace the job you have now, unless you are, like I said, a rocket scientist or you are a astronaut, where you're Elon Musk, you know what I mean? Okay, I understand. But yeah, you can definitely do it and you can easily do it and you can do it in a fraction of the time. So just to let you guys know, but yes, I definitely wanted to let you guys know that. You said for some reason I can't see you. Oh no, beautiful Bernice. I don't know if somebody has somebody blocked or whatever, but yeah, we'll figure that out. Can't hide. And you said 5 to 8 hour lives. What's up, RNT Entertainment? Everybody make sure they go over and subscribe to him. He has some really great, great content. That video last night was pretty funny on Alan Logic. Yeah, everybody beefing with Alan. I ain't got no beef with Alan. I do think what he said was inappropriate. I've already said that though. But yeah, it is what it is. You said, hey to DJ Drama. All right, guys. So let me give you guys my unpopular opinion, and then I want to get into Bishop Whitehead. And then, of course, we're going to get into this Secktah topics, okay? But I definitely wanted to give you guys an unpopular opinion or two because I thought these were pretty funny. Actually, they're pretty interesting. And I kind of agree with one of them and disagree with it at the same time. And then the other one I think is pretty interesting, but I have to disagree with this for one reason or two. So the first one says, and I'm going to open it because this one, I'm going to read this one first. It says, America needs a good 2 years of internet blackout. Okay. And then it said, that's it. Let the rest of the world stabilize all the hyper weirdness it created, and then they can come back in with a renewed attitude towards hope and freedom. So I kind of disagree and agree. I do think that America does need, or really the world, I don't even think it's just America, but particularly America, because there's of how much propaganda comes out in America and in these YouTube and internet streets, Facebook and everything else streets. There's so much propaganda that just gets thrown around in our country that I do believe that the internet, taking a break from social media for the entire country would definitely do the country some good. Okay. I think it would do some good to the kids who are out here that want to shoot each other because they see somebody in a picture or they see somebody posted up with somebody on Instagram and stuff like this. I do think this would make a big difference in that. I think that people's image or their what they feel that their image should be would change if they didn't have the influence of social media, which would bring down rates of suicide and other things. I absolutely do think that there's a lot of bullying that goes on in social media, which causes low self-esteem and many other things that aren't addressed, and people just constantly get on these spaces and create really negative experiences in really negative spaces. So yes, I do think in that sense that getting rid of the internet for about 2 years and taking a break from that, I think that would make a huge difference in our country. But I also think it would hurt the country because the internet is needed for many, many things. Not just, we've learned to rely on the internet for many things. Many people bank on the internet. Many people work and use the internet for work. Many people have to shop. It's become something that is more convenient for people who have conditions or who have issues where they're not able to leave the home or they're not able to go out as much. So they order things. They order from various locations. They order ship. They order Amazon. They order all kinds of stuff in order to get things to themselves. So in that case, I think the internet is much needed. Okay, um, and I think it would cause a dent in our economy if we did take the internet away for 2 years. I think that would be a major economical issue. Um, Number one, if you've ever seen like some of these Amazon hubs, like for instance, like I'm just going to talk about that. Um, you become an Amazon Flex driver, you'll end up at one of these hubs, and you can see not only how much traffic goes out delivering orders for Amazon, but you would see how many people work in the actual factory, how many people are working inside the factory putting the products together, people working on the other side actually packaging those products, actually putting those products in the packages, I mean in the carts to get sent out, taking those carts out. Like there's so many jobs in within Amazon itself, which is an internet-based company, you know, that yes, I really think that something like that would be detrimental to the economy. So in that case, I don't think America needs a blackout. But I can say that there should be some regulation on what's allowed to be said, what goes on the internet, and what's put out, whether it's factual or not. I definitely think those things should be done, and I think there should be more studies on how imagery definitely can take over somebody's mind and have somebody thinking certain things that aren't true about themselves, and so forth and so on. So I just wanted to give my opinion on that, um, and see what you guys think too. You said, yeah. You said I can agree. You say, yeah, I heard it's no joke. Yeah, it's definitely Amazon. That thing, that place is something else. Like, and if you get to any of them, there's a lot of them here in Delaware, and yeah, it's just amazing how those places are. But you said I'm disabled and use the internet for everything. Okay, yeah, and there's a lot of people who do, and it would be pretty detrimental to people if the internet became not available all of a sudden. How would we even begin to even go with that? You said, hey to everyone. And Carrie Ann says, I agree. I think people are deceived about the so called freedom of speech. Yes, I agree with that too. We do have this thing called freedom of speech around here, but uh, should there be regulations on that? I really do think there should be some form of regulation on it. Like we can't just nilly willy just say whatever we want and do whatever we want to people, and there's no backlash, there's no nothing. Around here, we have this idea that we should be able to say and do whatever we feel, and that all looks and sounds great on paper. It really does, until you actually get in a situation where somebody's making up shit about you. You know what I'm saying? Or somebody's saying stuff about you that's untrue and it's actually detrimental to your health, detrimental to your wealth, or detrimental to your well-being of some sort, you know? That is where we need to have some regulations on what's being said, what's being put out, and what's allowed to be floating around on the internet. So, yes, I do agree. He said, I worked at UPS for 7 years and it was tough, but I heard Amazon is worse. I wouldn't work for Amazon like inside the warehouse or anything. I wouldn't do that. But I'm pretty sure they work you. I've heard they work you to death in there, you know. But it's just the point of how the operation works and how it is an internet based operation, you know. And if the internet went down, I mean that alone, you know, Amazon alone would definitely put a dent in the economy for sure. You said exactly. It is very, very important. Absolutely. So let's get into this next popular opinion because I thought this one was actually pretty funny. Because I've had a couple of cars, well, few cars in my life, and this was something that I thought I couldn't agree with. I've had different types of vehicles, and I thought that this was pretty funny. And this person says, I so much would rather have cloth seats in my car than leather. Cheaper to fix, still easy to clean, and they're so much better in the summer. Leather literally can cause burns on your skin. And I don't understand when people say that they're making a mistake by picking cloth seats. I have to totally disagree with this unpopular opinion. I have two vehicles. Both of my vehicles have leather seats. Okay. And nah, I would never change my leather seats for nothing. Number one of my vehicles does not have remote start. So I can understand getting right into that vehicle right after you open the vehicle up, right after you start the car up. Yeah, of course, the seats are going to be hot as shit. Okay. Yes, they are. But I would not trade them for cloth seats for the simple fact that I don't want anything spilled on my seat. And if it gets spilled on my seat, it can get easily cleaned up, easily wiped off. Okay. And leather cools down. When you put some air on it, when you toss some air conditioning on the leather, it's going to cool down. Now, the other vehicle I have, the newer vehicle I just got, that one has remote start. So I can actually start the vehicle and the air is popping off before I even get in the car. Okay. So I don't even notice that the vehicle has been hot most of the time. I don't really notice that the seats are super duper hot or whatever because I don't get in the car prior to that actually happening. You know what I mean? So that's kind of a luxury I have of that vehicle. But I would absolutely never, never, never get no furry ass seats and get no cloth seats. I don't know. That was just me. I guess maybe because I had a lot of kids and I wasn't trying to have juice and stuff spilled all in my seats. Okay. Cause that just wasn't happening. I mean, so, and I kind of stuck with that, you know. I think that leather is just much better. I think that leather is more, it looks better. It's classier. And you know, my particular seats have like lining on them and different things like that. They have embroidery on them and so forth that match the color of the car. So it's like, you know, there's a lot of things I guess you can do with leather that you wouldn't do with cloth. And so for me, I'm just not having it. The leather I gotta have. Okay. And that's just that. So you said I agree. You said, I don't like leather furniture or car seats. Oh, so you got them, you got them. Girl, no. I got to have leather seats in my car. Now, I don't like leather furniture. I have to agree with that. I did have this white leather couch a long time ago, and it was terrible. That leather the leather was terrible. It was awful. I would never do anything like that ever again. I do have a sectional sofa in my TV room, and that's leather, but it's dark leather. But I'm about to get rid of that too because it looks like it's starting to peel, and I'm just uh, yeah. When you sit on leather long enough, like in a house, is a little different. Like if you sit on leather long enough, I just can't do it. You said, what's up, Crafted Legacy? Got a new name today? You said cloth bench seats with cigarette burn marks reminds me of my childhood. How about that? Now, I don't recall any cigarette burns in the seats, but I do recall the cloth the cloth benches in my dad's cars. Yeah. You said, hey to Stephanie Collins. And what's up, Stephanie? I appreciate you. You said, I have ceramic tint and a windshield visor, low heat. If you get the tint, I have really good tint around my vehicle as well. I can only have but so much because Delaware, they will get you if you don't have a tint waiver. So I do have tint around the vehicle, and I also do keep a visor up too, which keeps the seats from being so hot. So yeah, there's things like that you can do. And you said they are pretty. You said, good morning, beautiful, the beautiful Bernice. You said there's leather and then there's leather. Right. So the car and vehicle that I have is leather. Okay. That car, that chair, that thing ain't, there's leather. Okay. So, I got to get rid of the leather. Okay. I got to get rid of the leather. But my leather seats in my car, no, absolutely not. That is definitely a thing. I'm always going to keep my leather seats. Okay. And that's just that. But guys, listen, let's talk about Bishop Whitehead. Okay. Because there has been a lot of ish that has popped off recently with Bishop Whitehead. And I wanted to talk about that because I just thought it was absolutely crazy. I'm going to play a quick 2-minute timer for you guys so that we can get right into that. And then we are going to get into the sector topics. Child, listen. I don't even know where to begin with this damn pastor. Okay, but we're going to get into the bishop this morning because he has been doing the most out here on these YouTube streets, in these social media streets. Like, I have never seen anything like this in my life. I did mention the other day, though, before I get into this, and this also will segue into the sector topics. But I did talk about this the other day with Breaking the Culture. Shout out to my sis. I know she's in the clouds. But one of the things that's been happening lately in the world, okay, and within Earth, okay, or Kai, whichever you want to call it, One of the things that has been happening is there's been a shift in the change, a shift in the spirit. Okay. Whereas there used to be a time where people would be who they are and they could hide who they really are with from people. Okay. That only a certain amount of people or only a handful of people who are always around you or always dealing with you would kind of know how you really are. Okay. And it kind of stays under wraps and then everybody just kind of sweeps it under the rug. They talk to you on the side or whatever, but they don't say much. But lately there has been a shift in that. Okay. There has been a shift where whatever you're doing or whatever is happening, regardless of whether it's good or bad, it has been exposed. Okay. um who you are actually just comes out, and it just literally comes coming out in the wash. Okay. So if you're doing wrong by people, if you're doing evil things, if you're going about doing the most and carrying on, it is literally coming out for everyone to see, and it is you that is exposing yourself. Okay. Whether good or bad, even if you're doing good by people and you're trying to be kind of quiet about it, you're trying to stay in the background. No, the universe is making and preparing a table for you in front of everybody. The universe is bringing you out and pulling out that goodness and pulling that light out. Okay. So, on both sides of this, everything is being exposed and multiple things are just happening all over the place. So with Bishop Whitehead, in his situation, he was able to get away with so much ish for so long, right under the nose of the church folks, right under the nose of the government, right under the nose of the people. And the thing about the FBI, here's the thing about the FBI and the thing about, these investigations. And this is how stupid this nigga is and why I don't understand how he went to jail before behind this very same thing and still has not caught on to this. Okay. The FBI will trump up charges on. They're not going to just, if they think there's anything for them to look at, okay, they are going to trump up those charges on you over an extended period of time. They're not about to come with no petty ish and be like, you stole $20 from the corner store and put you in jail for that and try to get you. No, honey. Okay. They are going to watch you patiently like a Scorpio. Shout out to my Scorpio sisters. They're going to watch you patiently like a Scorpio. Okay. They're going to sit and wait until the right time to sting that ass. Okay. And that's exactly what they have been doing with this fool for this long. It don't make no sense that he didn't pick that up the first time when he was in jail for embezzlement or whatever the charges were, but they were theft charges. Okay. It was money involved. So now, because of this man's ego, and it's something how the ego will keep you talking, okay, and keep you opening your mouth. A narcissistic ego will keep you just opening your mouth and keep talking yourself into a pit. Because that's exactly what this nigga been doing. He's literally been on a campaign since this quote unquote robbery occurred, which again, I don't believe it was a robbery, allegedly. I believe he knew who it was. And it's funny how he claimed. Now, he ends up telling us that he knew who it was because he ended up saying that the person's grandmom or aunts or somebody were members of his church. Okay. And they, he said, oh, I want them to turn themselves in. And so he ended up trying to make it a big spectacle and I know he set this up because the media and everybody else were all of a sudden at the police station when he showed up. But come to find out, the attorneys and everyone else ended up changing the meeting location to somewhere else. He was upset about that because he wanted all the glory. He wanted to be able to see, guys, I wanted to do the right thing, and me and the perpetrator, we hug on camera, and we're, God is so good, and we're going to go ahead and turn him in. And he wanted to do that in front of the people, in front of the cameras. But the grandparents or the mother of the child, or the one who had quote unquote robbed him, right, ended up taking the meeting place somewhere else, more private. He had a problem with that, claiming he didn't, but that's how he acted out. Okay. So when he gets there, all of a sudden the police jump out of everywhere. He claims he don't know how the cops got there. You called them. You called them so that they could come, so you can make it a big spectacle and look like the poor pastor who just wanted to help everybody in the world, and he just wants to bring people to God. And then the I think one of the biggest problems with him is the fact that he claims he's not a prosperity pastor. He doesn't teach the prosperity message like Creflo Dollar and like Kenneth Copeland and some of the other pastors out here who have taught the prosperity message. Okay. Now, for those of you who are church folk, and or aren't church folk, prosperity message is basically, if you give to God, God will give to you, and you will be just as prosperous as anyone else. What do you dream of? Do you dream of a home? Do you dream of vehicles? Do you dream of this? Well, give this to God and put this into the church, and this is what God was going to give you. And that's basically, in a nutshell, what the prosperity message is. Okay. In most cases, the pastor in the church end up rich as fuck. Joel Osteen is another example of that, where he had millions of dollars in the church wall that the plumber found. Okay, that's another example of that. But ultimately speaking, he says he does. Now, Bishop Whitehead says he does not teach the prosperity message. Well, I think he doesn't either. Okay, because nobody in the church seems to have as much money as him. No members of the church seem to be doing as well as him. And he comes to church like as if he is going to a church like Creflo Dollars or like Kenneth Copeland's large church with all where you can see the money, going into the ministry. You understand what I'm saying? Where you can see the funding going actually into the members and so forth and so on. I'm not talking about where you can take $25,000 and go to the grocery store on Christmas and buy everybody food, because these are the things that he's saying he does. Okay. Anybody, any church can do that. Any social club can do that. I have done that multiple times with my social club. Not 25,000, but I have done that multiple times with my social club, where we've given out food. We've taken people to the grocery store to shop and various things like that. These are things that you just do when you are a community leader, when you do things for the community. These are things that are normal for churches to do. Churches are constantly giving out food in the state of Delaware. Over up in Wilmington, there are multiple churches that give out food, give out clothes, that you can't go hungry in the city of Wilmington, for sure. Okay. And it's not just the white churches that are doing it, it's black churches as well. So this is not abnormal for churches to do. Okay. But he wants to make it like, see, this is what I'm doing. I'm giving out money for Christmas and money for Thanksgiving and stuff that drug dealers do. Like, drug dealers do that shit. You understand what I'm saying? That's not anything new or abnormal. Exactly. Pantries do it all the time. There's multiple pantries all over the place that are doing stuff like that. So, and they do it every day, or they do it every couple days. So for him to say he does this once a year, because Christmas only comes once a year. So, no wonder he's wearing Fendi and doing all kinds of shit and buying these expensive bishop, quote unquote, bishop rings and all this other stuff, which I'm about to get into in just a second. You said there's something going on with him. My impression is that he feels like he is not ultimately responsible for what's really going on. Yep, that's how he comes off. Like as if he's not responsible for these things. And, like everyone else, is the problem. And you said he spends more time at the Gucci stores, okay, than at church. You said that's the hallmark of prosperity preaching. They get the prosperity and we get the preaching. Exactly. Exactly. And that's usually how that goes. But he don't even really teach the prosperity thing. He just wears the look and does the do. He literally drives the Rolls Royces and wears the quote unquote bishop rings and all these other things. And but nobody else in the church is doing that. The church itself, the building itself, isn't even doing that. Like it ain't even doing nothing. Which I wanted to get into a little bit on this ring. Okay. And I wish I had a picture of the ring because I don't. But I'm going to talk about it, and you guys can check out King Jives because I've been watching him. He has been covering this as Larry Reed, of course. Everybody knows that. Um, but King Jives went into a very interesting part of this scenario and of this story. He talked about the ring itself that was allegedly stolen, okay, and how this ring was supposedly stolen by the robbers. And now all of a sudden he's wearing an identical ring. Okay. He was on Fat Joe the other day wearing it. He was on Tasha K wearing it. And there's a couple of other places he's been. So now that he's been caught up wearing the ring and people are asking him, well, how did you get the same ring back? He claims he purchased a new ring. Okay. Here's the problem with what he said, and this is for my church folks. And again, shout out to King Jives for pointing this out. I'm going to put a link to his video in my description box so you guys can go check this out for yourself. It is about a 2-hour long video, so I guess I'll try to get the timestamp for where he was talking about this, but the whole video is good, so y'all can go ahead and definitely look into it. You said he does teach prosperity for him. Right. And what's up, Naps? I appreciate you being in the building. You said exactly, Can't Hide. And outrageous, yes. You said a piece of ish covered in useless, overpriced junk. Exactly. Every time he talks, I get disgusted, to be honest. But anyway, okay, I'm reading these comments too. You said he faked the robbery. Yeah, I think he did. I really do. You said that's prosperity preaching, though. None of those congregations are wealthy. That is true. Now, people in Creflo Dollar's church, I've met some people there. There are some folks in Atlanta that do very well for themselves, and they go to his church. I can't say that they're doing well because they go there, but I do know people that actually attend his church. I knew several people that go to Creflo Dollar's church, and they do pretty well for themselves. But most people that I know in the Atlanta area are just doing well for themselves anyway. So it's possible that it's just the area that he's in for why Creflo is doing so good. But there's another one too, Jerry Falwell. Now, his members are kind of in between. And now I know Jerry's been dead for some time, but at the time where the church was, it was located in like Lynchburg, Virginia. Those people in that area are pretty well to do as well. Some of them are not, some are, but it's kind of like a luck of the draw in that area. But yeah, so some of these churches do have folks that do well for themselves. Joel Osteen, I'm not sure about. And I'm not sure about Kenneth Copeland either. I think Kenneth does pretty well for where those people do pretty well too. So I think it's a matter of where the church is located as well. But the majority, I agree, Steph, the majority of these prosperity preachers, their congregations are not prosperous in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So I do agree with that. But this particular pastor, he's not really preaching that, he's just living the life. But either way, so let's get back into this ring thing, right? So for those church folks who know, bishops are generally consecrated to that position by other bishops, and there's kind of like a line of there's a procession that has to be followed in order for a person to become a bishop. You don't just become a bishop one day and be like, yeah, I want to be bishop, and you just wake up and you go buy a bishop ring on Amazon and everybody's just a bishop. No, like you literally have to go through some things to be consecrated as a bishop. Okay, I don't know exactly what it is. I do know that there's particular things in the Bible, if you go by the Bible, which of course the church is going by the Bible. I know there's particular things that you have to have. Like one of them has to be you got to be married or something. The other one is you got to be a real man of God or something like that. There's like several things. There's some criteria that you got to meet in order to become an actual bishop in the church. Okay. So a bishop ring, a real bishop ring is going to be made, it's going to be created for you. It's going to be something that is for you and something that, that belongs to you and you only. So, and it's something that's created for you. Okay. It's not you just go out one day and be like, yeah, I'm going to go buy this ring off Amazon or I'm going to go buy this at K Jewelers. That's not how that works. It has to be custom made. It's something that's created for that bishop. Okay. So for him to have this new ring, I mean, and this ring is iced out, y'all. I don't know if y'all have seen the ring, but the ring is iced the fuck out. Okay. So for him to have this new ring, okay, that is similar to the old ring that was stolen, I have questions. I have questions on how he got that ring back so fast. Okay. Because there's no way that he got a new ring created within a week of the same stature. And it's a bishop ring at that. Okay. Like I said, these are not things you just come across just, on Amazon or something. You could just go out to the mall and buy. Okay. You have to have this custom made, and this is iced out shit. Okay. This person, this jeweler is going to take some time to get this created, to get this custom made, and to get this right, and then release it to him where he can wear that. Okay. So shout out to King Jives for pointing that out and pointing out all of those points. And I really think that that's something to look at. Definitely nabbed himself with that one where he's going up here, on Fat Joe with the ring. He's going up here with everywhere else with the ring. But yet he claims this ring was taken from him from the robbers. So that's number 2 strike that we got on this guy. Okay. We got multiple strikes on him. But that one is one of the biggest ones. Another one that we have is, which I thought was really crazy, was that he went on Fat Joe and he went on Tasha K. Before I do that, let me read this. Shout out to Stephanie Collins. I appreciate you for the super chat. You said Jerry Falwell was an antichrist. I'm sorry. My blood runs cold when I hear that name. Sorry for getting off topic. No, you're fine. Mine too. There's a lot of stuff I can talk about Jerry Falwell. I've actually been to his church when he was alive and when he was preaching, and I will get into that one day. Okay. So I'm definitely going to talk about that too. I know you guys like to talk about church topics and some other things. I've been to both. I've been to his church and I've also been to Creflo's, but I never went inside Creflo's church. I was just outside the church. It's really big. It takes up several acres of land. But yeah, I just wanted, I will talk about Jerry Falwell one of these days because he is something else. And you said, yes, my cousin's been a bishop for Bishop G for many years, and it took him many, many years before he was ordained. Exactly. You don't just get up one day and become a bishop of a church. And also, if you do, and there is jewelry, that jewelry is custom made. It's not, you're not just going somewhere and getting that shit. You said there's a whole can of worms about to explode about him. I'm just waiting. A lot. There's so much stuff trumped up on this man. It's not even funny. You said the robbers gave it back, of course. Okay, yeah, they were so kind. They gave it back when the police jumped on them. You know what I mean? They were just like, here, man. Here, I'm so sorry, Pastor. You said, yes, me too. T-Pri is just crazy. You said, according to Timothy 1, verse 3. Yeah, I think that's the one it is. And I should look that shit up real quick just to read it. But I know that there is like actual where you have to, there's actual like criteria that you got to meet to be a bishop or to be ordained as a bishop. So I'm going to look that up because I think it is First Timothy chapter 1, verse 3. And so let me look that up real quick, guys. Yeah. And so what it was they were talking about the Apostle Paul of Jesus Christ. And so verse 3 says, Timothy charged to oppose false teachers. As I urged you when I went into Macedonia, stay there and Euphrates, so that you may command certain people not to teach false doctrines any longer. Oh, okay. Well, that's what that is. Well, First Timothy chapter 3. Stop teaching them false doctrines, my nigga. Quote unquote robbers, right? Robbers are so kind these days. They just come back and bring your shit back to you. You know what I mean? Especially if they know that the government is about to put your ass in jail. They like, oh shit, my bad, bro. Let me bring this shit back. You said a bishop cannot be a lover of money. Right, exactly. You said he orchestrated that whole fiasco. And you said his whole family has always been very flamboyant. Okay. So I know that the family has been speaking out too, and there's some congregation members that have been speaking out as well. You said I've been in the same room with Falwell and I walked out. I did too. I remember him. I remember when he died too. But I remember him. I remember his family. I remember him getting on jets to come to church, like all type of shit. Like Jerry Falwell was another one. He was something else. He was something else though. And I got some stories about him in them hills of Virginia. Yes, I do. He said, I didn't know the Bible gave out requirements for church titles. Child, yes, it does. The Bible gives out requirements for armor bearers as well. And some other thing. There's some other church titles that the Bible specifically speaks on. Yeah. You said, right, Sigga, the verse really includes all leadership positions, not just the higher levels. You said, I'm sorry, it's First Timothy chapter 3. You know I'm a heathen. Girl, me too. I had to open up the Bible from Google, girl, because I don't know. I ain't got that shit. You said my cousin is Bishop Michael Jackson. He is Delaware. Oh yeah? Okay, I gotta look that up. I don't know, girl, because I don't be in church like that. You said husband to one wife. I do know a couple of bishops. I know a couple of ministers here. Um, I've met Juanita Bynum because she's connected to a church here in Wilmington. She was married to one of the members of that church at one time, Bishop Weeks. So I know them. I know the Weeks family, and I know the church. And like I said, I've met Juanita Bynum. She's been there many a times for many revivals that they've had. So yeah, I know a couple of them. You said husband to one wife, character above reproach. You laugh. You say, yeah, it specifically says they cannot be divorced. There are really specific criteria. Yep, they can't be divorced, and he's been divorced twice. He not girl. That's another thing. We're about to get into that too. But hold on, let's get into this other thing that I got with the pastor. So he got on Tasha K, right, and then he got on Fat Joe. On Tasha K, he said that because Tasha specifically asked him, are you you say you and I are going to chop it up on Falwell, Miss T Pre. Okay, we can definitely talk about that. Let's hit me up on email, lovinglife7842@gmail, and you and I can definitely put a panel together and talk about Falwell, because I got a lot on him myself. And some other ministers too. But yeah, we can talk about Falwell for sure. That's gonna take a whole show. Anyway, so with this pastor, he says on Tasha K, because Tasha specifically asked him, is the FBI involved in what's going on? Ultimately, he said that is a lie. He was making it like it was a lie. The FBI is not in his shit. They're not in ish. They're not looking for him. He don't have no issues with the FBI. He hasn't been being probed by the FBI. This is all a lie made up by Larry Reed. Okay. And then he gets on Fat Joe. Okay. Less than 24 hours later, he's on another show on social media. This pastor is the social media pastor. Gets on another show and says, oh, well, I got proof that Larry Reed has been calling the FBI on me, and that I've been being investigated by the FBI because of Larry Reed. And I'm going to post that information on my page. I'm going to post that information for y'all to see. I want y'all to see. And I'm like, but wait, sir, didn't you just say you just said You lying to the people again. You just said, sir, that the FBI is not even probing you. They're not even involved with you. You don't have anything going on with the FBI. Now, less than 24 hours later, you have evidence that Larry Reed is the one that called the FBI on you. You know what? I can't with this fucking pastor. He can't even keep up with his own stories. He can't even keep up with his own lies at this point. Okay? It's just ridiculous how this pastor will say one thing and then turn around and tell the same story, but tell a different fucking story at the same goddamn time. Like what? Like we didn't just hear you. Like millions of people are not watching you and following you. We got white people watching, black people watching, Spanish people watching. We got Mexican people watching. Everybody is watching this pastor. We are listening to you tell these stories and then tell these stories in a different way somewhere else when you think those same people aren't listening. It's like as if you don't realize that the internet is just the internet, sir. And everybody has access to the internet most of the time. Even homeless people have access to the internet. You understand what I'm saying? You could go to like a social services and get a free phone with internet service on it. Okay? Like it is not difficult to get the internet, sir. Everybody is listening to you. You are the hottest topic on CNN, NBC, ABC, CBS, and YouTube, and everywhere else. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Everybody is talking about Bishop Whitehead. So how the hell does he think he can say one thing on one space and then go to another space and act like he ain't never said that? Like, I'm going to need him to get it together. I'm going to need him to figure out this internet thing, okay? I'm going to need him to come out of jail, to come out of where he was institutionalized. You understand what I'm saying? Back in 2000, early 2002 and shit, and 6 and all that, when the internet wasn't popping like it is now, okay? Because he still thinks the world is like that. Sir, you need to catch up, okay? Because everybody is hearing what you're saying. We're hearing you say one thing and then go somewhere else and say something else. Your stories are inconsistent, sir. Inconsistent. That is the word of the day for Pastor, Bishop, whatever he is, Whitehead. Inconsistent. That is a problem. I don't understand. On top of that, there ain't no marriage certificate out here for this new woman, for this quote unquote wife of yours. So is that your girlfriend or what? Like, is that your baby mom? So you just got your baby mom sitting in front of the church, like she wearing jewelry and getting robbed by people and all this. Oh my God, you are the scum of the earth. When it talks about the scum and how pastors be on some fuck shit, this is the epitome of fuck shit when it comes to a pastor, okay? I have seen some extra-ish from pastors over the years. I truly have. But this right here definitely takes the cake, okay? Because you're just displaying the most satanic nonsense when it comes to the people, when it comes to the manipulation of the people. This is satanic at its finest. And I'm not in any way trying to preach to y'all or act like I'm some minister or anything like that. Because I'm not into the church. But I do believe in manipulation. You understand what I'm saying? And that you can use magic and you can use specific things against people. Okay? And I do believe that this is the type of magic that is used against our people most of the time. And is used so often and it's so subtle, people don't even notice it because they're ministers and because people trust them. But this is one of the many, many forms of manipulation and magic that is used against our people. And we got to wake up to stuff like this. Because this is absolutely disgusting to have such a person in a position of power and a position of quote unquote leadership. And this is the kind of people that we are following. As long as we are following people like this, we will always be asleep as a people and we will never get any further. We have got to stop trusting people and putting our trust in man, because this kind of man will burn you every motherfucking time. It's sad for so many reasons and on so many levels, because so many people actually do have a belief in God, or they're looking for a higher power. But they get turned away because of people like this. And I don't think they necessarily should be turned away from the belief of a higher power or the belief in wanting to have a closer relationship with a higher power. But I do believe that they should be cautious when it comes to putting your trust in people, putting your trust in churches, putting your trust in buildings. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because you have the ability to find that higher power from within or whatever way you choose. But you got to be careful in how you're doing it. Don't let yourself get duped. Don't let yourself get taken. Like, these are examples. Some of the stuff that he is being accused of are examples of people just literally putting their trust in mankind and not thinking of mankind is just what they are, mankind. You are mankind as well. Yes, some of us have gifts and talents, that others don't. And we can use those gifts and talents to help one another, but not to dupe one another, not to take advantage of the people. This is taking advantage at its finest. But them chickens will always come home to roost. You understand? The universe always has a way of bringing the universe back over you, whether good or bad. Cycles. So while he was out here putting all that energy out into the universe, taking advantage of older women, taking advantage of Black women, taking advantage of the people, mocking the people, doing all the things he's been doing, all under the guise of bringing you closer to the higher being. Now all of this is coming back to haunt him. And he's literally losing his mind right before our eyes. We can see this man saying one thing here, another thing there, and putting his own self in jail. Like, we don't even have to do anything. We don't even have to say nothing. It's amazing. I'm going to get into y'all comments on this real quick, and then we are going to get into these sector topics. Yeah, but girl, yeah, it does. You said there are specific criteria. Yes, we can talk about Falwell. You said Weeks was the man she was going to hit in the head with a brick. Yeah, Bishop Weeks. Juanita Bynum they something else, man. They was something else. But I remember that relationship from years and years ago. Because I used to go, it was called the name of the church is Greater Bethel, I think it is. Greater Bethel Temple, I forgot what it's called. But anyway, it's over there on 16th Street now. It used to be over on the north side. Now it's over on like northeast. You said crazy. You said Cat Williams moment. As a matter of fact, his church is right around the corner from the school, from Umar Johnson's school, Bishop Weeks Church. It's a real big church down there, back there. They got a lot of land down there. But yeah, Bishop Weeks Church is probably like a block and a half from Umar Johnson's school, maybe 2 blocks. You said crazy. You said a Cat Williams moment. Nigga, don't you know we can see you? He don't think we can see him, Bernice. Oh, he think we don't see that ass. He said the FBI won't tell you who called them, and they won't tell you if they are investigating you until it's too late. Exactly. So at this point, let me touch on that a little bit, because Larry Reed actually did post that the FBI has tried to get in touch with him. They left him a message to call back. How they got that information is because Larry Reed was talking about Bishop Whitehead, and Larry Reed has so many followers, okay? He's got all kinds of people, and y'all would be surprised. Like I said, I've told you guys before, you would be super duper surprised who's watching you as a content creator. People think that because you're on YouTube, and even if you have, a certain amount of subscribers or something like that somehow stops larger companies from watching you. Who do you think these companies get some of this information from? A lot of times, larger companies like CBS, CNN, NBC, and places will be very careful about putting stories out until it's vetted. And how they vet those stories often is they look at smaller content creators, they follow those stories, they get into bigger content, bigger content, bigger content until they have enough information to say, you know what? Yes, this is correct. We're going to go ahead and put this out. Or they have certain connections within the world where they can speak to this person and make sure that this is correct. But they are also watching smaller content creators as well. Okay. They are watching YouTubers and places like that because YouTubers are able to speak on stuff without getting sued much faster than somebody like CNN. So CNN will wait. They'll hold a story and see how many other bloggers are putting this information out, and then they'll put it out, and and then that's that. So I want you guys to pay attention to stuff like that, because a lot of times Larry Reed has said things and put information out, and then a larger company will pick up the story. That happens all the time in this world. You'd be surprised. So, because I heard a couple people saying that, like, oh no, Larry Reed ain't nobody, they not getting nothing from him. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And he had the evidence of it showing that not only were they contacting him, but the FBI was contacting him as well. Okay. And they wanted to know more information. They actually left a message and had him, wanted him to call back with that information. So, yes, they definitely are getting in touch with Larry Reed. But unfortunately, at this point, they have been investigating this man so long, okay, that they don't even care if he knows. They don't care if the public knows or anything, because this is how close they are to putting this man in jail. Like, it's crazy. It is absolutely ridiculous. You say, yep. He said that figures she's his wifey. Okay. She's not married to him, allegedly, because there is no paperwork, there is no marriage certificate, none of that stuff. So that's his baby mom, y'all. He said he's only did a nickel. He didn't go down in 1985 and just come home. You said, wow. You said, ain't, hey, to speak easy, you said, ain't one of the qualifications of a bishop is to be the husband of one wife? Yes, that's one of the qualifications. And he's been married more than once. And also now he's got this girlfriend. So, yeah, allegedly. You said, yes, speak, that's right. Yep. You said 100. You said milestones around the necks of the people. Oh, millstones around the necks of the people. Yes. This is terrible what he's doing to the people. You said the people wasn't the only one he mocked. Absolutely. You said, wow. You said Cat Williams moment. Yeah. So, guys, we are going to get into the topic of the day, which is going to be the Shakim Ra and Photon situation. I've been watching what happened. I did have some commentary on it over in D. Durrell's chat, because I saw this for the first time over there. I'm not subscribed to Shakim, so I really wasn't aware of what was going on. But I am subscribed to Photon, and I hadn't seen anything happening on his channel. But I am also subscribed to the Sectors TV. And so when Sectors TV was talking about this situation, I had to say, yo, what the hell is going on? So I went over to Shakim's channel and I watched the video. And I was absolutely disgusted by what I saw. And, I'm kind of tired of this whole victim mentality that he tends to have. And I want to get into it today. I think it's high time to talk about this again, because, I just wanted to give my commentary on it. But I'm going to play a quick little timer for you guys so you guys can grab some, popcorn, libations, roll your weed up, whatever you're going to do. It's too goddamn early for libations, y'all. But go ahead and grab whatever you're going to do. We're going to take a 5-minute timer, and then we're going to get right into the conversation. was a part of this that Nappy Yankee mentioned, and I wanted to bring that up. But before I do, shout out to one of my favorite loungers, Verla Hatcher. Sis, I am so glad to see you in here today. I hope that you are doing well. Um, I know that sometimes I even do this myself, and I encourage people to do this. We often will take a break from YouTube, take a break from social media, just to recoup and to regroup and to do some things on our own and in our personal lives. And I think that's excellent. So shout out to you. I really do appreciate you though for coming in. I know that a couple of you have said hello to Verla as well. So truly appreciate you, Verla, for coming in today. Keeping it plain, I also appreciate you for coming in and always checking the show out. Even if you catch the replay, you always let me know that you've been in the building. So shout out to you. I always appreciate you too. Nappy Yankee, you said, let's not get into his alleged incestuous relationship, according to his ex-wife. Yes, I wanted to talk about that. And I'm glad that you brought that up because that was something I did want to bring up. That was another part of this whole demonic pastor, that I couldn't get over. His ex-wife, now all the other crap about this man, if all that stuff wasn't there as well as this, perhaps this may be something that, people can say, you're welcome, sweetheart. You're welcome. No problem. Perhaps this would be something that we could say, she's making up or something, even though that would be a terrible, terrible, terrible thing to make up. Okay. Something like that, I can't see anybody doing. Now, I'm not saying people have not lied on men and said that men have done things that they haven't done. But when it comes to children, believe the kids. That's just that. And if the woman is saying that this happened and she attempted to get some assistance with that, I would not. It's difficult at this point for me to put that past this man because of how much of a snake he is. You understand what I'm saying? Like, he is just such a snake that I wouldn't be surprised if this was true or if it had some truth to it. I don't know if it's all true. I don't know if it's, everything is just all the way that it is. But this guy is such the devil, that I wouldn't put it past him. You know what I mean? Because, if you would breach the trust of people in these other ways, why wouldn't you do something like that? I don't know. I can't say, but it definitely brings light to that. But for those of you who don't know, his ex-wife also accused him of doing some incestuous things with his minor children as well, both the daughter and the son. Okay. And I don't know how true these things are. I would assume that he would have been charged with something like this if it was. I would assume that, I don't know, but it's difficult to prove stuff like that. But hey, I don't know what happened. I don't know if he says that he was investigated and that it came out that it wasn't true. But investigations that doesn't mean that something like that didn't actually happen. The fact that that type of accusation would come up in his past is terrible. And that just adds to all the other muck and fuckery that this pastor has been involved with, which isn't far from other pastors too. But since this pastor keeps wanting to go live and talk about his life and tell us things that we didn't even know, because keep in mind, the whole situation of this with the ex-wife is something he talked about months ago, before this robbery thing even happened. He went live talking about that on his own channel. So it's not like somebody else brought this up and then he decided to answer. No, he actually was talking about this. So again, this is another example of somebody just opening their mouth and speaking on things and exposing themselves for who they truly are, even though, nobody asked you. But that's literally what folks are doing. They're out here exposing themselves. And it doesn't make any goddamn sense. Beautiful Bernice said to Naps. And Verla says, good morning, T Pre in chat. And you said it's 5 o'clock somewhere, damn it. You said hello to Verla Hatcher. You said I had an uncle that cracked his first beer at 7 a.m. on the dot. You said, good morning at beautiful Bernice. You said, Stephanie, New York father was lit by, she said, my father was lit by 2 a.m. And you're welcome, Pun. You said 27 in the house. Please hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Yes, now we got 30 in the building. And we're going to go ahead and get into this story real quick, because I really think that is worth talking about. I've had a really hard time with what I witnessed the other day with Shaquem. You said, dude is a mess. I saw his interviews and I'm just like, definitely gonna go check out a service. Okay, I gotta go up there too, sis. We need to go up in the church. Now, look, I want to talk about that real quick too before I get into the Shaquem thing, right? There were people that did. There was a lot of reporters and so forth, and people like, YouTubers and whatnot that went in the church the other day. He let everybody in, right? And then he said, he was like, I could have sworn he had some people there that he paid to say specific things, okay? Because he was like, do we know that woman that saying that I owe her $90,000? It was a whole heap of helping the people that was like, no, right? And he was like, have we ever seen this woman, and has she ever been a member of this church? And they were like, no. Like, it was just like, what the fuck? Yo, I know he paid these people to say this shit. I know he paid these people. So you said it's another content creator who's down to go. I'm gonna call you for deets. We're going to the service for facts. Okay. And I know I'll be up there next weekend. I told you I'm coming up there anyway. So I'll be up there on Saturday. So anyway, yeah, girl. And then we gotta talk about that too. So I'm gonna hit you up after the show. Anyway, guys, we got to get into this. You said, right, he was hell bent on her not being a member, even though she was related to a member. Right. I'm like, so which one is it? Right? Like, do we know her or do we not? Do we know her? They were like, no. It was just all in unison. Like they were like, it was on a scale of 1, 2, 3. No. Like like everybody was just like smooth in unison with it. Like how do you get that to happen? Okay. Unless you like rehearse that shit. Anyway, y'all, let's get into this Shaquem shit. Okay. Because guys, I was disgusted with what I saw, and it just kind of opened the wounds back up to what myself and my sis been through with Shaquem Rock. Okay. Now, with Photon, I will say this. I know that you guys have seen a Photon on YouTube, that's like all, loud and boisterous, and he'll cuss you the fuck out and this, you bitches, and this. But when you meet Photon in person, he's not like that. Okay. He's actually very professional. He's real quiet, real reserved. He's not all like drunken and fucked up and all crazy. And if he is drinking, he knows how to carry himself and how to handle himself. Okay. So he's a very professional individual. I would absolutely work with Photon in real life. You understand what I'm saying? I would do any kind of work with him. I wouldn't have any problem with it. I know he's good at editing and other things and production. And actually, we have our eyes on him regarding some things that we're looking to do in the near future in regards to production. But here's the thing. Business, as most people who are in business out here know, that it takes time to develop. It's not something that you can do overnight. And if you are doing it overnight, you want to question why, okay? Because you got to be able to grow into the business. You got to be able to adapt to the customers, adapt to, if you have a business partner, adapt to them, adapt to various things within that business. And it takes time and it takes patience. It's not something that you could do, just overnight and in a couple of weeks. And, it's not instant microwave, where it's just not, it should never be like that. Okay. It definitely takes time. And it takes time to get to know people and to understand the angles that people are coming from and to understand why they're coming from that angle. and then be able to work with them regardless of what you're dealing with. Okay. So it takes wisdom to do that. It takes time to do that. And it takes patience. You can't just jump out here into the fire and expect everything to just go the way you want it to go at that moment. You got to take a moment to breathe and let things fall where they may. There might be a moment where you don't agree with something with the business partner, with somebody that you're working with. But even in that moment, you should be able to talk with that person and have a conversation. And none of that shit should ever be public. You understand what I'm saying? Because if it becomes public, then it becomes a problem for other people to even want to work with you, or for how people view you. You understand? Like, if I got to deal with, like, Breaking the Culture and we're both partners. Everybody knows that we have a podcast, okay? Everybody knows that we're doing other things, outside of that as well. But if me and her ever had a disagreement about something, or if we, didn't see eye to eye on something, you would never catch either one of us going live and talking about that shit. First of all, it's not your business. Second of all, if we really did have something that was going on, the only ones who could actually work that out would be me and her. What the fuck could y'all do about it? You understand what I'm saying? But talk about it, add your 2 cents to it, put this in it, put that in it, and make it a big situation that it don't even have to be. You understand what I'm saying? Like, now, if Shakim had taken the time to let this man talk to him, he literally sent him a text message and said, "Send me my money back." And then he read it. And then the next day he's going live. Like, how is that showing patience as a man? At the end of the day, you could have just waited for this man to call you. You could have called that number. You could have did anything but go live. I don't understand how you got to the point where you decided that going live about that would fix that situation. Now, if you had called him, or if you had been patient enough for him to transfer his new numbers to his new phone, because when I purchase a new phone, I oftentimes don't know who's calling me or who's texting me if I haven't saved your number to a backup drive, or if I don't know exactly who this number is coming from. So if I get a message or a text message from somebody, I am notorious for leaving your shit on read. Like, I'm notorious for that. If I get a new phone call to my phone and I don't recognize the number, I am notorious for not answering that call if your number is not stored in my phone. So a simple conversation with this man would have cleared up that whole problem. But no, now, because you want to please the Secktah, and you want the Secktah trolls to laugh and to have something to say and to up you and to make you look great and make you look like you are really that guy. Because of that, because you wanted them accolades from the Secktah, you decided to disrespect one of the only people in this sector that still had your back and still supported you, even knowing that you be on some fuck shit. He noticed it, he saw it, but he still gave you a chance. Because that's the kind of guy Photon really is. He might talk shit and do shit and say shit and all that, but he's really a good guy. And he was actually trying to be cool with you, even though he knew you was on some fuck shit. Even with the documentary you wanted him to do, the plagiarized work, the difficult work ethic, not getting you to actually put time into what you're supposed to do for yourself to make sure that whatever you're trying to produce is done correctly. He saw that and understood that, and he still tried to work with you. and didn't put your business out here. Same way we did. None of us tried to put your business out there. None of us tried to talk about your work ethic and how you don't put the effort forth to do what you're supposed to do. We didn't do that. But you took it upon yourself to go live and make up shit, add shit, put shit out of context, and make it seem like it's such and such. Because you can't control your own emotions. Because you don't take the time to have a conversation with people to get an understanding of things. Because truthfully, truth be told, in any of these projects that you've attempted, your heart has never been in the right place. That is why this is happening. It was never in the right place with us, myself, Breaking the Culture, and I with The Void, and it was never in the right place with Photon. Now let's get into that. Why? Because like I told you before, you got these blinders on and your hatred for one person who, by the way, is doing wonderful. He's got big content creators out here, some talking shit, some talking good about him, some upping him. I'm talking big content creators that got Flacco in their mouth. I'm talking big people that's coming out here, coming to see him and coming to do this and coming to interview with him and all kinds of shit. Yeah, you got niggas talking shit and then you got niggas upping him. You got niggas that will have his back just as much as niggas want to take. Yes, Flacco, the person you hate so much, has blinded you into this unseen competition with him, down to you hitting the gym. You hit the gym for a couple of days and then you go live and talk about Flacco's weight and talk about what he's doing and how he's not doing this and how he's not doing that better than you. You should be hitting the gym and then go hitting some pussy. That's what you should be doing. Or some ass, whatever you're going to hit. But you're worried about Flacco. You wanted to hook up with Photon so he can edit stuff about Flacco. So he can do stuff about Flacco. You wanted to hook up with Breaking the Culture of Silence and I because you wanted to go live about Flacco. You wanted us to trigger Flacco. For the past almost 2 years now, you have been going in on Flacco. Your whole life is consumed with that to the level that you don't even take care of your own responsibilities for what your content would be for yourself, for your own channel, for the growth of your school, whatever you're trying to do. You're not even putting the effort into that. You literally read this man 30 minutes worth of a book from somebody else. And you wanted him to put that in the form of a documentary so that you can post that on your website for your school. And this man is supposed to put his signature on that, a plagiarized work, and only get paid $100 to do so. $200. Have you lost your mind or have you lost your mind? First of all, even outside of the $200, no real artist is going to put anybody's plagiarized work up. You have to put work, you have to put effort into it. You can tell a story, but you can't read this actual story and then put that out as your own work like it's not somebody else's, because that's what you were trying to do. That's the real part of what you left out of your video, and I knew there was something you were leaving out. So shout out to Photon for getting up on D Darrell's panel the other day and talking about that, because I knew you were missing something, and that's the part you was missing. I don't know about y'all, but editing takes a long ass time. Real editing, making a project into like 4K actual work. I did a small little short story on my members only, and that took a long time to edit, and it still wasn't really the way I really wanted it to be. It's still not as crisp as I really wanted it to be, but it was enough where I could release it. And I'm still working on it because I still want it to be fully crisp before I make it public. But ultimately, it takes a long time to edit documentaries and big stories. And it takes money to do that. It takes software and so forth. This quote unquote software engineer you claim to be. So I'm not really sure how you thought handing this man $100 was going to get that done. Like, I really don't. Unless y'all just didn't have, unless that was the deal, you know. But I would be pretty skeptical about giving somebody $100 or so, and that's what I expect to get a documentary with. Uh-uh. I can do that for myself. If I'm going to do a documentary and I want it to be on that type time, I'm not going to pay $100. I'm going to pay more than that, because I'm going to expect 4K work. I'm going to expect this to be something you could see on a big screen. You understand what I'm saying? And that $100 is not going to do it. That's for real editors out there who really understand that. So I get it. But a simple conversation with that man would have let you know that, and some simple patience. I don't care how long it's been. Like I said, nobody's going to put as much effort into your projects as you are. So if you're not putting the effort forth to get something done, why should anybody else be putting the effort forth? Somewhere between college and now, you got stuck in your mind that other adults are supposed to make you and your life a priority, when you are the adult and you should be making your own life your own priority. There's no excuse for why you're still at almost 30 years old, still expecting other people to do what you should be doing. When are you going to realize that that's not appropriate? When are you going to realize that you should be handling your business as a grown man? Because that was the problem that we ran into with you as well. You're an adult. I am not going to call you and chase you around every day. Did you get your itinerary? Did you buy your tickets? Did you get this? Did you do that? Because you wanted to come to New York. Yes, we let you know you can come if you're able to do X, Y, and Z. You wanted to come, you have to put the effort forth. And it's not up to me to call you every day and make sure that you're doing this and make sure that you're doing that, because you're an adult. I could have hired my 13-year-old son to do this if I wanted to do that, because he lives across the hallway from me. I could call him and I could go over there and be like, yo, are you ready? Did you get you ready? Are you ready to go? Do you need me to get you a ticket? Like, you're a grown ass man. It is up to you to handle your responsibilities. It's up to you to put forth effort for your own projects. If you have deadlines you have to meet, if you have things you have to do, it is up to you to get it done. This is your business. This ain't Photon School. This is yours. And you are the software engineer, according to you. The six-figure nigga, according to you. So that whole live stream, I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you did it. Because them chickens always come home to roost. See, that story comes from back in the day when farmers had chickens and some people's chickens would get loose and they'll go over in other people's yards and poop on the yard and do this and do all kinds of stuff and mess up stuff. And then you wake up in the morning and you look through the yard and you see the yard all messed up and all chicken poop all over the place, and you try to figure out where them damn chickens came from. And you look up the street and there go the chickens on your neighbor's porch, roosted. Loose as a motherfucker. Running around crazy, out in the streets for everybody to see. That's what the chickens coming home to roost mean. You out here doing the most, acting like you some victim. And you know, Breaking and I, we wanted to release them receipts. We got clearance from some things, and other things we were told legally not to do to protect ourselves. So we put it in intentions. We set it in the universe. And we let it go. And let it be what it be. And we didn't even have to get that goddamn far before you showed yourself for exactly who you are. We didn't have to prove anything. We didn't have to put any receipts out. We didn't have to show anything because you exposed yourself. You showed yourself for exactly who you are. You will trump up lies. You will make up stories to try to make somebody else look bad if you just don't agree with something that happened in the situation. Or if you just don't understand something that happened in the situation. You're not a victim. For all of those who thought Shakim was such a victim, there you have it. What y'all got to say now? For all of those who thought it was just so possible that me and breaking the culture of silence had scammed him, what y'all got to say now? Because the same shit came back again. Like, oh, now we can see the facts. We didn't have to show y'all nothing. We didn't have to put nothing out that people were waiting on. No, we waited for the universe. Because when you do right and you're doing the right thing, you don't have to prove nothing. Because the facts will just come out as they are. And that's literally what happened. That's fact. I don't even watch you, so I don't give a fuck what you have to say. You going to roast, quote unquote, someone, that's the best you can do. You don't have nothing else. You definitely don't have integrity and you don't have facts. So it doesn't matter what you say or how you say it. You could kick fucking rocks because everybody can see you for exactly who you are and exactly what you do. Because that's all you live for is this sector. All you live for is these trolls. And that's just that. Y'all can block him now because he's not welcome here in this chat. He doesn't get to just come over here and say and do what he wants to do. But yes, finally. Oh yeah, y'all block him. I want y'all to block him because he can hear, he can listen. I don't care. I'm not listening to him. I don't even watch his channel unless it's something I got to be directed to. So you could talk about me all day. You ain't doing nothing but bringing me through the algorithm. People only gonna come over and see what my response is or why you said it. So thank you. I appreciate that. Let me go back up to the top here because I see you guys had lots of comments. But yeah, that was what I had to say about that. And I definitely think it's factual. And you know, sometimes only a hit dog will holler, honey. So yes, you said everyone hit the like button. Hey, Divine Seven, I appreciate you being in the building. You said I don't think anyone else will work with him after this. I agree. I don't think so either. It's a shame, but it is what it is. You know, he just doesn't get it, and it's messed up. But he literally does not get it, and that's facts. He said, everyone, please hit the like, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification so you don't miss a thing. He said, Photon DNA can kick rocks with no socks. I like Photon. He cool. He said, hey, TMK. He said, hey, can't hide, chat, fellow mods. He said, breaking the culture, salute, mamito, mamita. Hold on, guys. One moment. All right, my bad, guys. All right, hold on. I'm going to drop the link real quick. One second. All right. So you said, I think Shakim saw DNA and breaking the culture together and got triggered. I don't know, too big. It's possible. It's possible. He said, and he decided to jump out the window too fast again and tell all again. That's what I'm saying. Like a grown ass man, like you got to stop doing shit like that, bro. I'm going to need you to really stop doing shit like that. And that's facts. But I just dropped the link for you, sis. What's up, sis?
What's up? I just wanted to say that I find the hypocrisy sometimes in the sector to be very just unnerving at times, because you mean to tell me we got people in the chat talking about, so why can't Photon just give him his money back? Why couldn't Shakim just give me my money back? He literally basically admitted in the chat that yes, he stiffed me on damn near a $200 bill, telling us you're crying about something that happened way back in May. Sir, you have no integrity. How dare you have the nerve to literally beg for Photon to give you your money back when you literally still owe me $200, sir? You
Right. Like
literally,
if
I
Photon
saved you
pays
from being
anybody,
arrested.
if Photon pays anybody, he gonna go ahead and send that right to you.
Give it to
Okay.
me, period. Because it's like,
I
how
mean,
dare
sir.
you? And people are in the chat talking about
Sir.
oh well,
Well,
we
hold on,
didn't
wait a
see the
minute. Let me see who
receipt.
in the chat is saying it because it depends on who's saying that. Okay. Now,
First Shakim said, your broke ass still crying about a bill from May. Poor
oh,
baby.
don't
Like,
nobody
I'm
care about what
broke.
Shakim is saying.
I,
But
but
if I
this
want to
is
see
just the
what
point
anybody else.
of this is just the point of, though, he has no integrity. You're talking about, I'm crying about a bill for May, which means that you're acknowledging that yes, I paid that bill in May. So you have no integrity. You don't want to give me my money, but you want Photon to give you your money. Make it make
Right.
sense. Hashtag. Like, you
Right.
still owe me. My broke ass want my money. Yes, I want all my money. I want my dollars, because You literally stiffed me on a bill. I could have left you sitting at that table with no money and let you get arrested. I could have done that.
And good morning,
I could
Divine
have. My
Seven.
broke ass could have done that. So it's just like, come on, let's stop. Photon don't owe you nothing. At the end of the day, that's your karmic debt. You had to pay that debt back. You owed me 200, and guess how much you lost from Photon? 200. See how that works?
That's facts.
What's the chances that what you owe me is exactly what was
Exactly
cleansed
what,
from you?
right, exactly. What's the
Karmic
chances
debt.
that you sent that money out in the universe in a cycle of such that you created, and then that money doesn't come back to you? Like, what isn't that like? Yeah, sir. I don't know what to tell you,
That's
but I
full
don't feel sorry
circle.
for you at all.
No. And I hope Photon keeps it and don't give him the project. I actually hope he does. That would be literally the funniest thing ever because it's simple, sir. You're broke and you have no integrity and you're childish. You're a child. And it's like for everyone that's screaming, Photon, give him his money back. Why aren't y'all telling him to give me my money back? Because he owes me exactly what Photon owes him.
Exactly. So, I mean, if anybody get it, it'll be you. That's facts. Since he gave it to him. You said almost 40 in the chat. Smash that like button, the subscription box, and tap the notification. You said Shakim got real issues. He played me, still owes me 200 and stuck me with the bill and had the nerve to call me a scammer. Now T and Photon all scammers. Right. Everybody's scamming him. Everybody's scamming him. Stop it. We ain't even got to show no evidence or nothing because he showed it for himself. Straight jealousy. You said it's giving very much broke. Now, I didn't see anybody in the chat that said anything about it, but I will say this. There are trolls, okay, who will go in his chat and talk shit and up him on shit and be like, yeah, and they're trolls. They're not really serious about him, really being right in this situation. They just troll his dumbass, and his dumbass likes to listen to him and likes to agree with him. So be it. He could be live right now. I could care less. You said
Right.
Child
To me,
Flacco
it's
ain't
just
thinking about
principle.
him. Exactly. Child Flacco ain't. Listen, Flacco, it don't even got this nigga on his mind in no way, shape, form, or fashion. But this nigga, everything he does in life is behind whatever's happening with Flacco. Trust me. If this nigga takes a shit at 7 a.m., it's because Flacco is about to take a shit at 8. So he got to make sure he doing it before him. Okay? If Flacco is going to brush his teeth at 7:30, Shaquem will be up at 7:15 brushing his teeth to make sure that he is doing it before Flacco. Like, this is how Shakem's life is literally centered around whatever Flacco is doing for the day. Like, literally. He sits long. He has too much time. Like, this is why he can't work on his own documentary, is because he's actually watching No Jumper and taking notes on what No Jumper is doing and how often Flacco is live and what Flacco is talking about, not only on YouTube, but on Twitter, on Instagram, on everything. So that's the time that is taken of his. And then that's why he's not working on his own projects. He wants other people to work on his projects for Project Pat money, like, basically.
Oh,
You said,
because it's what I said. He's talentless. He doesn't have the talent to work on his own projects. So
exactly.
he'd rather just and let him tell it. He's got all these jobs and he doesn't have the time. No, you just don't have the talent that Flacco has, and it burns you up inside. It makes you mad. It just
Exactly.
it
It
just burns him up
burns you raw, son.
because Flacco's hanging out with one of the top Hollywood
I
crews
can't hide. I
in
appreciate you,
that
sis.
section. And he's salty about it. He hates it. He hates that Flacco is where he wants to be. And because he does the things that he does, he's never going to elevate. And it's funny because the Raw University is all about elevation and opening up yourself and being a great person. But yet he's literally the epitome of a shitty ass person.
But that's exactly why Amin Ra is not going anywhere, at least until he cleans all that shit up in the universe. That shit ain't going to go nowhere. It's still going to sit exactly where it's at. It's going to be where the money that it made. I think it made like $2,000 or $3,000 in like a 3 or 4 year period. Like, literally, you're going to stay in that position and in that space because mentally this is the space you're in. you keep going after a man who doesn't give a fuck about you, bro.
Yeah.
Like he
And then for
doesn't care.
him and then for him to come for Photon and try to make it seem like Photon's so broke and Photon's so this, I'll tell you this much. I went out to eat with Photon last week, I think it was, or the
Mhm.
week before. We split that bill right down the middle with no problems. He
Right.
card ain't declined. He ain't have to do a card shuffle. None of
No
that.
card
Like
shuffles.
none of that. Like, like, come on. Like we literally had no problem splitting that bill down the middle. No questions asked. We didn't ask who ate what, who drank what. It was simply, this is the bill. We're gonna split it down the middle. It wasn't, oh well, I only had this to drink or I only ate. No, it was okay. Split that baby down the middle, paid the bill, and was good. So the only person in this whole equation that's broke is Shaquem. Why is it that he's always having problems when it comes to money? Nobody else is, but him.
Facts. And
When
then
me and
Two
you
Face
went out to
says,
eat, wasn't no issues with the cards declining. When me and you was splitting bills, me and Photon could split bills with no problem. Why is it that Shakem's the only one?
word. All the time, Shaquem is the common denominator in these problems, but everybody's scamming, everybody's doing him so dirty, and all these
We're all
discords
broke.
talking shit and all this stuff. And
He
look
saved
at
his
you.
ass the first time. You saved him the first time that night. I had to come rescue his ass the second time.
Huh.
Photon probably rescued him too that night, and we just don't even know about
We
it.
don't even know about that because Photon would not tell nobody nothing like that. You
No.
said, you said, then wants people to pay for the documentary. I'm like, what the fuck? So he want people to pay for this goddamn plagiarized documentary. Okay, I got you, son. You said fat ass and junior G's. What's up? You said basically no one can say they didn't know moving forward. Us and now Photon had to take an L. And yep, D. Durrell said that last night. He said anybody else that gets into business with him and still wants to work with him after this, you gonna hold that L, honey. All day and all night. You gonna hold that shit. You said T Pre, what with all due respect, why not just give the money back if you didn't complete the work? He did half of the work though. He did like a 15-minute video or something like that, and then he told him he'll do the rest. But it takes time, keeping it plain. It's not just something that you just do overnight. When you talk about editing something, like it takes a while to edit. It's not something you can just do, and then you got to have the right computers and stuff too. You don't have the right equipment, then you don't. And it's not like he
Well, and
wasn't
he's telling the
telling
truth
him that,
about his computer. He's telling the
right?
truth because
And he
that
is
night that he
definitely
was
telling the
with
truth
us, the
about that
computer
computer
got ruined that night.
because we
That
were
night.
there, right? So he's not lying about that at all. So in a sense, I would say it like this: business is business, okay? And with the type of business that he's asking for, it's not like he's asking him to throw together something real quick on Canva that he can just hurry up and make into a quick little 5-minute video. He's asking him to do a state-of-the-art documentary. You understand what I'm saying? Where he will need certain software. He'll need, a certain type of Windows computer or whatever to do. And he can do that. It could be done. And it could be done in a good period of time, but it takes money to do that. You don't
Wait,
just
I'm
get
confused,
that done
T.
for
I'm
$100.
actually confused. Because remember when we were like working, when we originally started working on the podcast and we were doing the logo and the website and all that and stuff. How is it that he claimed to be this engineer? He was so talented. He could do all
Girl,
these
I was gonna
things, but
say
yet
that.
he's literally contracting Photon to do what he claims he could do for us.
Like
Make it make sense.
he wanted to do our website. He wanted to do like all he
He
wanted to
wanted to
we
be in
were
charge
we
of
were like,
the
well,
marketing and stuff. He wanted to do he
he
wanted to
wanted to
create the
do the
content for
internet
social
marketing, the
media.
Instagram marketing. This is how we know this is how we know Shakem changed the password to our Instagram is because he had the Instagram password. He had access to it. But once we realized he had changed it, we had to go through all this fuck shit. Girl, you remember that fucking morning, man?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like if you're so talented and you have all these
Oh
skill
my
sets,
God. That
why
just
are you
brought me
paying
back.
someone else to do this? Why are you paying
Exactly, because
Photon to
he
do what
claims
you
he
claim
is
you
such
can
this,
do?
he swears he is such this big, huge internet engineer. Like he can just handle all this stuff. He knows coding, he knows this, and he does know some coding because I know some coding myself. Sis knows coding herself. Like, we're not far off from this. We know IT as well. We know how to do certain things. We can get this done if we wanted to. So we didn't need him to do that. But he was insisting on doing this very stuff. And we were like, mm, we'll let you know. You know what I mean? Like, we weren't really trying to do it because, first of all, we knew we could do it. And then he started talking about software that was outdated that we knew we wouldn't use. You see what I'm saying? For our own website.
Yeah, he was
So
talking about
immediately
using
we were
Wix,
like,
and
nah,
we're
bro,
like,
we're
what?
not.
I'm like, who uses that in 2022? Like, I guess
Right.
depending on what you're doing, it works. But I'm like,
But we were
no,
trying to
we've
have, we're
upgraded
not,
by then.
yeah, not the way he was. So anyway, we knew from the rip we weren't going to do that. And that's on video too. So,
Yeah, like
but
as soon
either
as very
way,
much, I'm
it's,
calling
it's,
Cap.
yeah, it's just the point that, like, when is he going to learn that if you have issues and you're going to, come up with things and there's going to be issues and misunderstandings and so forth and so on. If there's issues like that as adults, and if you're really secure in your life, you're secure with yourself, you don't have a need to do things like that. There's no reason to go outing people, quote unquote, or putting people's business. That is so childish. And sir, you're almost 30. It's not like you're like 20 or 18. Even my 18-year-old and my 20-year-old, they wouldn't even be doing shit like this. You understand what I'm saying? Like, happy birthday to my baby. She just turned 18, y'all. And
Happy
she
birthday.
wouldn't even be doing that type of shit. Like, that girl is so private, it's not even funny. You
And
know
the
what I
funny
mean?
thing is he would never say half of that stuff he said about Photon to Photon face. That's the
Face.
funniest part. Like he
That's
never
the
would, and
funniest part
Photon would
about
have
it,
aired him out. Like when I tell you, because we've seen both of them in the. No, all I'm saying is I'm calling Cap. Like he got a lot of mouth, but if it
for
really came
sure.
down to it, I would give you my last good dollar to say he would never say none of this stuff to Photon face. He just at Photon would have. It would have been crazy to see, but he just talk a lot. And moving forward, anybody else that gets played by Shaquem, that's on y'all because y'all now know. Like
Right.
we did
And I
it,
was going
he
to
went
ask,
through
keeping it
it.
plain, what you asked him because he said, why not give him the money back? Well, that's kind of the same question we have for him. Like, why, like Breaking the Culture said, with all due respect, when does Shakim give me my $200 back? He has some nerve demanding a refund, knowing he stiffed me on a bill, then called me broke. Like, we could have went even deeper with this whole situation. You see what I'm saying? Like, let's go into the photographer, for instance. Okay, we knew that the photographer was not going to be out of any money, but what if Shakim, what if that did happen? You know what I'm saying? Then that would be another scenario and another situation. Hey, keeping
It
it
would have been
plain.
another bill I
He
would
can
have had
answer,
to
he
pay
can
for
answer that
him.
question now. So, hey, bro. Well, hold on. You sound really choppy. Hold on. You sound really, really choppy,
Yeah, I
bro.
was gonna say he got to come back in.
You want to go down and come back in? Okay.
But that's the thing, and on some G, I can say this: I have never, in all my 33 years of living, went out to eat with a group of people. Somebody card declined and that person not give you the money back. Like it's happened where hell, I've went out and my card is declined before. You know, it happens, but you give that person their money back. He just flat out stiffed me and then had the nerve to call me and my dude broke. My dude paid your bill, sir, not you. Like I've never in
Right.
my life, I've never had someone actually do that to me. Like literally be like, "Oh, I got you. Don't worry. I'll cash app you the money in the morning." And then I never get the money back. And then next thing you know, I'm being called broke. Like, how you calling the person that saved you from getting arrested for stealing services and goods? Because let's call it what it is, sir. You stole from me. Ain't no you stole. You flat out stole from me. You flat out lied. I paid that bill basically on the assumption that you were gonna give me your part of the bill back and you didn't. That's called theft. That's called theft by deception, to be honest. And I have a year to prosecute. Don't play. And New York is petty. I can take you to petty. I can take you to small claims for $200. Sure
Right.
can. If I wanted to be petty, I could
Since he
raise an
likes
issue with my
since he
bank.
likes small claims.
Yeah, I could be petty. Like if I wanted to really, if I was really broke, I could have done that. I could have been a petty hoe and taken you to small claims and then also filed a police report for theft by deception if I wanted to. I could have done that, but I didn't. But it's like, you got your nerve, sir. Like it annoys me to know that people like you exist in spaces. Like, you're annoying to me. You're disgusting. And you're
Facts.
broke. You're broke, sir. You literally live paycheck to paycheck, and you proved it when you didn't give me my money back. Because what
Yeah.
real honorable person would? That's like me coming to your town, T Pre. You pay my bill because my card declines, and I don't ever give you your money back. Like, who does that?
Right,
Like,
exactly.
that's broke shit. That's only something a broke person would do. You're
Facts.
disgusting. And it's just principle, sir, because no one cares about the $200. It's principle.
What's up, keeping it plain?
Hey, can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. You just sound a little bit choppy. But you're
Yep.
okay. What's going on?
Okay. Not a
So
whole lot.
anyway, I did have a question for you because I saw your question, right?
Go ahead.
And now you said, with all due respect, why not give the money back? And Carrie, I'll get to your question in a second too. You said, why not just give the money back if you didn't complete the work? Well, I like how you're asking that question, right? And then we answered the question just now, but I kind of question, my question would be for you, did you ask him the same things? Like when it came to him sending Breaking the Culture her money back
No, I
for,
did.
okay.
No, I did not. I
Well,
did not ask.
well, now, even if you didn't, it's fine. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to. Nobody's saying you have to. But what I'm trying to say is, like, do you think it has the same merit? Do you think that since he thinks that he should be given his money back for work that he didn't complete or for work that hasn't been completed as of yet, do you think that, and, you know, even with all the circumstances involved, like now that we know all of the circumstances involved, including the fact that this work is plagiarized, the fact that this is, you know, not his actual content, the fact that, you know, this is, he wants them to put this in a 4K documentary form for $100. Like, with all of those factors included and saying not, you know, just give the money back, would you also say that it has the same merit when it comes to him owing Breaking the Culture her money for her paying his bill for something that she didn't request to do, something that she didn't ask to do, but he knows he didn't pay it? So is that the same thing? Does it have the same morals?
Yeah, I mean, if, to answer the question, if he Breaking the Culture, if he owe her, he should pay her. And
he said he would cash out me in the morning. He literally was like, I'll cash out you in the morning. You're for the rest of the bill. Never did.
I put that in the chat. I say, you know, Rod, if you owe her, if you owe Breaking the Culture, you should pay her. Simple. And same with Fulton. If he did complete the work, you should give him his money back. You know, it's simple, and everybody move on and just let it be. I mean, now that's the way I would approach it. But I mean, people are different.
So what do you think about him feeling like if he disagrees with something or, you know, something doesn't happen when he thinks it should, you know, which mostly that happens in life. But, you know, with that, what do you think about him just deciding to go live and add or take away parts of the story, you know, without giving the full context of the story? What do you think about that?
Well, I can only answer on my behalf. I can't get in shock of Rob Brain. It's something that I would not do. I would constantly reach out to the person that I'm having a problem with and try to get it rectified. Because, you know, like I said before, everybody's different on how they conduct business. So I would try to take the least road of having confrontation. That's what I would try to do.
Right, which is all you can do is talk about yourself, which is not, I wasn't asking you what he should do. I'm saying what you would do, you know, in a situation like that, because that's what I would do too. And even in talking about what we would do and our examples of what we would do, that hopefully can help someone else, because he looks up to people like you, and others in the sector. And it would be nice if sometimes we have people like yourself that would say things like that, even if you're not saying you should do this and you should do that. I get that, because he's a grown ass man, you know what I mean?
That's right.
And you don't want to be telling him what to do, but at the same time, it's examples like yourself that would say, I wouldn't do something like that. You know what I mean? I would take the least road of resistance, would be maybe an example to a person like him who is taking that high, taking that other road. You know what I'm saying? He needs to hear shit like this, because it's not right. And if enough men are saying something about it, then perhaps people can start looking in the mirror and making changes,
Well, he could never get on Flacco's level, because if he were to ever reach Flacco's level, the thing that hurt shock him is the fact that he doesn't know how to keep things behind the scene. Nobody in the real industry would ever work with Shaquem, because the first time something didn't go his way, he would just air out everything. He could never be where Flacco is, because he talked too much. He talks too much.
Yeah, I agree.
I know you guys got. I know you guys got some bad blood between each other like that. I hope, one day, assuming that you guys be able to, find a peaceful resolution. Y'all guys can at least be on some type of common ground with each other.
Yeah, I'm not sure what common ground we're supposed to be on after he's out here calling us scammers and lying on us, and then he turns around and shows everybody that he'll lie on anybody else the same way. So, the common ground will be a public apology, and perhaps just fixing his ways. That would be the common ground for me. Other than that, I can't really see where I'm supposed to compromise with him on this, because I haven't done anything wrong with this at all.
I got you. That's something. I'm not asking. I mean, and I never get up here and try to tell you guys what to talk about, when to talk about it, and you guys do it how you want to, like you do things like you want to. And I just hopefully, you guys can find some type of, as I said before, some peaceful resolution to it, and be able to go to your respectable corners and just leave it at that.
Well, wasn't he supposed to do an interview with somebody recently and he ghosted them and took their money? Did he ever give that money back?
Right, because he actually got paid, and he told us he got paid, which is something that y'all should know. Like, for anybody who is doing content creators stuff, you can speak with any bigger content creators and they will tell you they never ever out that they're ever paying anybody for interviews. That's not something that is done. That's not a common practice, because when you start talking about that, then you kind of lower your own value. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think to that. Don't quote me on it, but I think Shock and Rob paid him. I'm not sure. I think that's what he said.
He got paid to do an interview. And
he said, keeping it clean, he said that this man paid him. That is his words.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And why would Shaquem pay somebody else? That doesn't make sense either. Like, I would never pay somebody so I can be on their platform. That's ridiculous. No, I'm not doing that.
I do appreciate you allowing me to come up, and I wanted to definitely let Breaking the Culture know that I didn't see the receipts. She said she showed them. I didn't see them. Maybe I didn't catch the show at the time or whatever, but I didn't see the receipts.
Well, they're still there. We're keeping it plain. They're actually on my wall. They're on Shakem's wall, and they're also on Breaking the Culture's wall. So you're welcome to go to any of our community platforms and literally see them. They're still there.
And he just admitted it in the chat. He
admitted it in the chat.
He said, "Just
so I'm not sure what you didn't see, but everybody else saw it.
You're broke. You're complaining about money from May." So that's him admitting that, yes, he stiffed me on the bill, but because I'm broke, I'm asking for it back.
And the funny part is, these are his own receipts and her receipts. They're both listed on everybody's community wall. Even Anti-Afro Svengali got them on her wall. So you can't miss it.
All right. I check it out. I check it out, T3. I check it out.
Okay.
And I
All
do
right.
appreciate, I do, thank you ladies for allowing me to come up on your panel.
Oh, no
You ladies
problem.
have,
Have a
you
good
ladies
day,
have,
DJ Clean.
same to you guys. All right. Y'all take care. All right. Bye.
And to be
So,
honest, I don't have no issues with Shakim. I just think that he has his nerve. Like, I really don't care at this point. No one cares about Shakim at this point. But
right.
it's just the audacity for me. Like, don't try to play Photon like he broke and like he stole from you, because Photon did not have a problem splitting the bill with me when we were out. He didn't even question. He didn't even say, well, I had this, you had no. We just saw the bill. We split it down the middle. The bill was paid. That simple. You know what I mean? It's not even that deep. He even offered to cover some of my bills. Like, he's not. He's not broke. He's not no scammer. The only broke scammer, unfortunately, is Shakim. And for me, it's principle. Like, stop running around like you're just this well-to-do guy and you just have all this, when, sir, you literally can never pay your bill ever, and everybody's always doing you dirty. Why can't you just grow up and be mature? Act like an adult. You claim to be an adult. Be one. Be one. No one in their right minds would ever work with you moving
Exactly.
forward, and you're never going to reach Flacco's level because you're too immature. I'm pretty sure Flacco has disagreements behind the scenes with No Jumper. You don't hear a knockout, or you don't hear Flacco up there, you know, airing everybody out. No, he keeps
Facts.
that shit private. Like, literally, Shakim and Knockout are the only two broke people I've ever seen call other people broke people. It's the brokenness for me. Like, how are you broke calling other people broke?
Facts.
It doesn't make sense. And you're
I want
crying
to
over
say,
$100.
so both there was two people in the chat that did say something. So Carrie says, shout out to Carrie. She said a couple of things. She said, so it's cool to accept money for a job, not do it, and keep the money. It must be nice. LOL. Well, he honestly did do half of the job already, and he released it. And Shakim said that. Okay, so he did do half of the job, and then he was supposed to release the rest of the job by like the end of the week or some shit like that. I don't know, but either way, Shakim went live before the work was even completed. There was never even a contract or anything saying exactly when it was supposed to be completed or anything like that. So technically, he didn't just accept the money without doing the job. Now TMK says, why not just give the money back and end the deal? It seems like a simple resolution. I actually agree with that. I would have just sent him that money back and not even fuck with it no more. But I can understand why he didn't give him the money back as well, for the simple fact that it's the work that he was asking him to do. TMK, I know that you would have given the money back. And I also know that you know editing and how long that takes sometimes, some of the work you have to do, some of the equipment you have to use, and different things like that, and how long it might take. And you're going to get compensated for that time. And what he was asking for would have been way more than $200. You know what I mean? So what he got is what he really paid for. You know what I mean? And what he's getting is what he's really paying for. So I get it. I probably would have too, given it back just to get this nigga out of my hair. But I can see why he wouldn't. I can understand why he wouldn't, because he actually paid him already to do what he already did. You know, he actually owes him much more. You said, if your card declines, you broke. You said, what happens when you play with kids? You said, that's what happens when you play with kids. Mm-hmm. You said, everyone should get what is owed to them in all fairness. I do agree. I do think that if he is going to finish it, he should go ahead and finish it. If he's going to give him the money back, give him the money back. But at the end of the day, that nigga shouldn't have went live over that shit and then tried to, take things out of context and make things look like this and appear like that. I really would not fuck with him at all. You know what I'm saying? You said, TMK, I hear you, but going live is not how you handle business. Exactly. Exactly. You said exactly, TMK. You said, Rod, if you owe Breaking the Culture, give her money back. Period. And he does. And the receipts have been posted for a couple of months. So anybody can go look at that. You said, hey, Verla, good morning. You said you call and talk to the person directly. It makes you, the complainer, look very bad. It really does. It really does. And it's just amazing how many people had jumped on that shit it wasn't a lot of people. It was a couple people just trying to hop on that and telling me and breaking the culture what we should be doing and how we should do this and what we and we looking like if y'all only knew that it wasn't even like anything like this nigga was saying. And now y'all can see for yourself that's exactly how he is. We ain't even have to show y'all. You said not sure about going live. I just look at things from a business perspective. I said on my old live yesterday, all business transactions should be kept confidential. I absolutely agree. Like that should have been a confidential situation between them. Just like with his quote unquote grievances that he had with that situation with me and breaking the culture. When it turned out that really it was just him beefing with D Darrell. If he had given it a day or two to calm down, we all could have talked about that, could have worked that out. That would have been over with, done. But this nigga wants to go live and add narratives and fake this and false that and all this fuck shit. Nobody got time for that shit, man.
Well, and the most insulting part of it, honestly, to me, for Photon, and just this is just my personal take on it, it's insulting because Photon saw what he did to us, and he still tried to support Shakim and still tried to be, you know, a good friend to him. He didn't drag him. He didn't try to roast his ass. He still worked with him, still tried to, give him content. And then you turn around and say he's scamming you. Like, come on, bro. That's
Exactly.
insulting. That's like a spit in that man's face because he could have aired you out. Because
He could have.
I'm sure Photon remembers that night just as vividly as we do. And he didn't. And
Exactly.
it's like spitting in that man's face. You just burned another bridge. Like, that to me was crazy because Photon was your biggest ally. And he literally was protecting you instead of airing you out. And then you're going to air out a grievance with us over him after he literally publicly protected you. You literally, sir, have no morals. None.
Facts. 100% facts. That's my bike punk says, nah, he getting 50K for sexual harassment. First of all, he can't get more than like 20,000 or something like that, 25,000 in small claims court. He's not getting $50,000, bro. He's not. He'd be bugging. Anyway, he don't even got that kind of money to be paying for attorneys to help him with such a thing. And that's what he's going to need for sure. He said, hello, Verla. You said, I'm not paying nobody for something I can do myself. Exactly. Especially for something like that heavy. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, we even have a nice thing that we've got coming up and we're looking for some things. And it's possible, that we could look at Photon for some work, but we wouldn't give him $200. Like he would have more than that. You said anyone work in the office can do what he did. You said, oh, so he's completed half of the project. Did he deliver the half? Yes, so he delivered the half. That he was talking about that last night on D Darrell's platform. This project is for his Shakim's Amin Ra University. So yes, he already gave him a portion of this video. He already completed half of the project and gave it to him already. So he said the other half he's still working on, and that's because he's been having issues with his software with his computer and some other things that have been going on, and that's not really a priority. He has a family, you know what I'm saying? He has kids, a wife, different things that he's taking care of, businesses and different things that he's actually handling in real life, that this quote unquote documentary, this plagiarized documentary it's not a priority to him. You see what I'm saying? So $100 that he got paid, he's already delivered half of the project. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not sure why Shakim is just going off and snapping and give me my money back and all this other shit. Like as if
is that
he
part
didn't
of
do anything.
Is the 200 that he paid him, was that a deposit? And then he would get the rest on delivery, like completion of the project, or was that just the total cost? Because now I want to know, Photon, why would you even accept something that hard, like that big of a project for $200, unless that was the deposit? Because that's the
Right.
only thing that makes sense to me.
I would think that was the deposit. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't understand why he was wanting money back if he's already given him a portion of this plagiarized story.
Right, because that's the only thing that makes sense. Like that had to be the deposit. And at this point, if he gave him part of the project, then that's the deposit because what he gave is $200 worth of content. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so all I can think of is that that was just the deposit.
That's what I was thinking. And then he gave him already, and then he was working on the rest of it, but he said he didn't know when he would be able to complete it because of his computer problems, which is true. He does definitely have some computer issues for sure. So I'm not sure why, Shakim thinks, oh, Photon is supposed to make this a top priority in his life and go and get his computer fixed and do this just so he can put out this plagiarized documentary when he has an entire family to take care of. He's got other things to take care of. That's why he had went and got a new phone. And that's why he didn't have Shakim's number stored in his phone, because that's why he didn't know who the fuck it was that was sending him some stupid ass message like that. I've done that multiple times with somebody texting me. I don't know who the fuck they are. Leave you on read. That doesn't mean, once I find out who you are, I won't get back to you. How come you didn't call him after that? No, instead of you calling, you went live. And this is so eerily familiar with this man. It is so ridiculous. Like, as soon as something doesn't go your way or you're having a hissy fit in the background like a fucking pussy ass little boy, you want to go live and talk shit about somebody and spin narratives and twist stories and act and pretend like shit be a certain way, and it don't be anything like that. And that's the part that really gets me. That's the
He's
part
a
that
high
I
chair
can't
tyrant.
respect.
He's literally his who he is exactly a high chair tyrant. It's a video on my page about the high chair tyrant. That's what he is. He throws a fit, he throws a tantrum, he tries to humiliate and embarrass people when he doesn't get his way. And it's like, sir, this is why you have nothing and you will never have anything, because that's not how you treat people, especially not in business. If you don't agree with what's going on, you handle that behind the scenes. You handle
Mhm.
that, go to arbitration, go to court. You do that behind the scenes. You don't get online and just air someone out after they try to reconcile or figure it out. You let the only time that to me is acceptable is if, yes, you were ghosted. Yes, someone did disappear. Basically, what you did to the guy that was going to interview you, sir. That's
Mhm.
what, because he should have aired you out,
Exactly.
but he didn't.
Exactly. And he didn't. And it's funny because it's like I said, nobody is out here like that is not accustomed to be paying people for interviews. You know what I'm saying? But if he really did, then where's that guy's money at? Because you didn't do the interview. Definitely didn't do that. So, but anyway, let me read a couple of these comments. So I think you guys understand now, because Divine was 7 was saying, following up on what TMK was saying, was there a time frame for the project to be completed? Overall, it's just messy and looks bad. Nothing more to say. Yes, Shakem wanted to have the thing completed by August 5th, which is this Friday. Okay, but first of all, it's not August 5th. He went live 2 days ago. Okay. And in that time, he could have honestly just called and had a conversation with him. In between that time, he was texting, you know what I mean, but not calling. If I text and you don't answer, and I see that you read my message and you still haven't answered, the next thing I'm going to do is give you a call. You see what I'm saying? He didn't do that. He just went straight from texting, oh, you didn't answer me? Oh, I'm going live. Like this, that is his MO. That is what he does when something doesn't work out the way he thinks it's supposed to work, or if he's feeling some type of way about something, and he's, instead of him communicating those feelings and talking about that ahead of time so that there's an understanding on both ends, he just bottles up those feelings and then goes live about it. You see what I'm saying? And that's exactly what he did even with us. Like, if he felt some type of way about something, instead of just talking about it or getting an understanding of something early on, he just bottles up feelings. And then when it comes to the point where he feels like, he can't take something, he just explodes, and boom, like now you got this whole mess. And then you create narratives and spin narratives to keep your story up with the public. to make shit look like it's really something that is not. And that shit is fucking ridiculous, sir. At 30, at almost 30 years old, you should be doing much better than that at this point. I'm sorry, no. You should be doing better. And yeah, so that was just following up to what y'all said. And TMK said, Divine Seven, from what I heard, there was a deadline to be met, but technical difficulties are causing delays. Exactly. And TMK, that's understandable, but technical things always happen in projects. Usually when they occur, you can talk to the person, company directly and work it out. Going live slandering the person is just wrong. Exactly, because you never know. And like I said, those simple little parts of the story that Shakem wasn't telling, that Photon ended up filling in. Those simple little parts of, such as the plagiarized work, okay, such as the fact that he got a new phone and that he didn't have this man's phone number stored in his phone. These are all factors that would play into exactly why the situation played out like it did. But without knowing that part of the story looks and can sound and say like as if, yeah, somebody's scamming him and he's being done wrong and all these people in the sector are just doing so wrong and all this other stuff. But in actuality, sir, you are the common denominator in every story, every single situation. And it always turns out that if you sat down long enough and waited just a second longer and had an actual conversation with the individual, you would see why things are this way and that way and why this happened this way. And maybe you would still be working with these people now. But ain't nobody gonna work with you after that fuck shit. Because as soon as something goes wrong, or as soon as something don't work right, or as soon as you breathe wrong, or if that person doesn't answer you at that moment, or something happens, like as soon as anything like that happens, this is the type of shit you do. And nobody want to fuck with nobody like that. That's facts. You said he did Umar the same when he was going to interview Umar and it never happened. Did he give any of that money back? Divine Seven said TMK said, Divine, there were also some problems with the communication lines as well. Without a written agreement, these things tend to get messy. Exactly. But even with that, right, it still should not have happened that way. It still should have been where he was able to have a conversation, you know what I'm saying, with Photon and at least talk about that. Can you hear me, sis? I don't know if you can hear me. But anyway, he should have still at least had that conversation with him behind the scenes, had a call, something. You know what I'm saying? You said, oh, I see TMK, but still going live and complaining is not a good look. Exactly.
No, it's not. That's not the appropriate way to handle it. It's just not. And imagine if he was working with real brands and stuff like that. Like, things happen, things come up. You speak to the person, you have a conversation. But in all honesty, he did speak to us, and when we responded, he still chose to go live. So that wouldn't have made a difference, honestly, anyway, because he still was going to go live on Photon no matter what Photon did or said.
Exactly, because that once he gets in that mode, like he puts blinders on, he's just gunning for that person. He's not paying attention, he's not thinking anything. It's just whatever comes to his mind and spirit at that moment, he's just gonna go for that. And that's the fuck shit right there. That's the fuck shit. You said facts 89. You said when you're dealing with people that's not genuine, this is what happens. 100. Exactly, because clearly y'all could see for yourselves. He's not genuine from the rip with any of this stuff. All of this stuff is competition. He is literally in competition with a man that he fucking hates, that he cannot get off of his mind. He eats, sleeps, shits, thinks, talks, cries, prays Flacco. Everything this nigga does is for Flacco. Everything he does. Goes outside and gets a breath of fresh air because Flacco did it this morning. He's going to go to work today because Flacco is at work. He's going to go and put on a pair of flip-flops because Flacco wearing, like, his life is centered around Flacco and it's not going anywhere because it's so dark. The energy around it is so evil and so dark that he could never prosper like that. Until he gets that cleared up, I don't know what to tell that dude. But literally all his hatred, everything he says about anybody else, everything that he says about anybody or anything, He definitely does that simply because he absolutely hates Flacco, and it's sad. It really is sad. I'll go ahead and put my Cash App up. I appreciate that. Keeping it plain.
And I think he just hates that Flacco has everything that he wants. Because it's like you could call the man broke, but Flacco's definitely not broke. He's definitely being paid to be on there for sure. He's not doing all that work for free. That's one
Word.
fact. Two, he's running with one of the top crews in Hollywood for what they do in the podcast sector. And three, he's literally everything that Shakim wants to be. So it's like, come on. You could talk about the man weight. You could talk about what he looked like. It doesn't matter. None of that matters because guess what? They chose Flacco and not you.
Exactly.
Fat and all, sausage fingers, chancladas, tight ass velour sweatsuits and all. They still chose him over you because guess what? He has something that you don't have. Hashtag talent.
Word. Exactly. Yeah. So that's my that's my Cash App, keeping it plain. I appreciate that. And let me go back up a little bit. You said I'm gonna go over that one. Hey, conscious energy. I appreciate you being in the building. You said peace and love, family. Keeping it plain. Okay, yeah, I dropped that. Antonio Barnes, I appreciate you being in the building. You said, well, lesson learned. Shakima, Dorothy Cow, Teriyaki, Snitch 9, Shingles, Harris. Been like this. He hasn't changed. Surprised you gave this person another chance. Well, I didn't give him any chances after what we went through. This was something he went through with Photon. But yeah, you said too bad he's not listening for advice, but to just react on. Yeah, because like that's clearly what he does. He's so blinded by whatever evilness he's dealing with, he can't even see what anybody's actually saying. You said AB salute, sir. You said facts, they need to stop doing business with him if all he does is talk about it online. Exactly. That's all he does. You said, hey, Uncle Kip. You said, hopefully you are having a progressively conducive weekly experience. I like how Antonio Barnes talks. You said, AB, yes, sir, I am. I wish you the same, sir. You said, but at the same time, T. Pre, Flacco is a public figure. Anybody can do content about Flacco. Is videos outside the sector that talks about Flacco. Well, let's talk about that. That's my punk. That's my bike punk. Because those people are getting like 10, 15,000 views on their videos. You understand what I'm saying? When they're talking about Flacco, they're actually getting major views. And I actually said that earlier in the video. That, yeah, Flacco has multiple major content creators talking about him. He's got major content creators talking about him, good and bad. They might some days agree with him, other days they don't, but he is a regular conversation out here in these YouTube streets, on these big O streets, on you name a space. They are talking regularly about Flacco like they talk about anybody else, like they talk about DJ Academics, like they talk about, like he's made it that big. So, yes, you're absolutely right. There are people out here who will talk about Flacco, but that's not all they're talking about. They're talking about other things. They're talking about other topics. They're adding other topics into their conversation. They're not just talking about Flacco. Shakim consistently has been for almost 2 years talking consistently about Flacco. Even if he has D. Durrell or April Bagley or somebody else in his, or me or somebody else in his thumbnail, he still will spend about 80% of that video talking about Flacco. And like he might talk about other things for a second, just in this sector, but then it'll go right to Flacco. He's even went as far as talking about celebrity gossip and then talk about Flacco for the rest of the video. And it's like 90% of the video is about Flacco. And he only gets up to a couple hundred views on those videos. He's not getting the thousands upon thousands of views like other people are doing. So that's to be fair. And that's to be honest, like how that's really going. Because when you break that down, these other content creators are actually getting the pay, they're actually getting the viewership, they're getting the money, everything for talking about Flacco. And Shakim is just simply not. And we just got to keep it a bean about that. And you said Flacco, a social media celebrity now. Yep, he is. And you said, well, Frederick, the saliva receptacle, used to be his YouTube boyfriend, and they had a falling out, just like he had a falling out with Dumpsy. Mm-hmm. You said, right now, Flacco hiding from the Mexicans. I don't know about that, but you said facts. They getting way more views outside the sector about Flacco. Exactly. Like Shaquem is not even piercing that sector when it comes to talks. Flacco is his own sector alone. Like he
Well,
is
I
his
think it's funny that even his little buddy YM has penetrated the algorithm on Flacco, and
facts.
he still hasn't even like he's literally been talking about this way longer than YM. YM just started making videos not that long ago, and she's already penetrated literally the space. And it's
Facts.
interesting because even her subscribers, for how many views she gets, it's weird that her subscriber count isn't as big as it should be, but that's neither here nor there. But
It's
she's
gonna go up though.
penetrated,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
but
gonna
she's
go up.
penetrated the algorithm. How
She's
is it
gotten
that, sir,
through.
you still haven't penetrated the algorithm? As much time as you invest in Flacco, you still haven't even touched his algorithm. Now
Exactly.
that's sad. That's really
Exactly.
sad.
Exactly. So even YM, shout out to her. Even though I don't really agree with a lot of stuff she might be doing, I
Yeah,
can
but she
say
hit it.
that
Yep.
yeah, she was a hater. But I will say this much: YM actually has surpassed Shaquem when it comes to the Flacco content and when it
And
comes
her
to real
content's
Denver
better
content.
than his. Her content
And
is
she edits,
A1.
and she's A1 on the editing and all that shit. So, like, if she starts talking about, like, if she branches off and really starts getting into that type of shit, she's gonna grow really super fucking duper fast, like really fast. She's gonna get those people subscribing and stuff like that. And if she starts talking, you don't have to come on camera, but start talking using your voice. I promise you, that shit is really gonna change your fucking life. It's gonna change your channel because you really have what it takes. I ain't no hater. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, if I see
Yep.
real talent, I'm going to say it. And you definitely have what it takes, YM. So
Yeah.
hopefully you'll do that. I mean, I can't tell you what to do with the voice thing. You don't have to do that either, but it does make a difference, just to let you know. Even being
If
on
she
camera
stays
sometimes will make a
consistent
difference.
and if she took this off of YouTube, which is what I was telling her to get over on Instagram too, because Instagram will be the backup to what she's doing. Because
Mhm.
Instagram is where, if she really wanted to penetrate that, you know, that whole field of what they got going on over there, just go over to Instagram, because Instagram is also where their audience is even larger. If she was to take it over there, she'd be dominating. But it's funny that she just started, and it's because she's not a hater. Like, he's a hater.
Right.
She's just giving commentary. He's so busy hating that he can't grow. God ain't never gonna bless you when you're doing something out of malice. And what he's
Exactly.
doing is malicious, and that's why he can't grow.
Right. And that's the difference between YM too. Like, she's not malicious. Yes, I don't like a lot of shit she be saying sometimes, but I don't think it's malicious. You know what I'm saying? I think she's just YM.
Yeah, she's
And
just opinionated.
yeah, she's super opinionated. You know what I'm saying? But there's a difference in doing that and like him, he's like he has an evil intent behind it. You see what I'm saying? And that is why he can't get nowhere. That's facts. She said, I still don't understand how all these male strangers have each other's email addresses and phone numbers to talk about other male or female strangers you never knew existed until they came to this. Antonio Barnes, I have to agree with that. I have to agree with that to a certain, like, I really do. I think there's a lot of that going on, and that people have developed this world of just kind of, talking about quote unquote people they just don't even know. And I don't know, but it is what it is. You said topic of discussion block if it is not about money. I never got that. All right, guys. So listen, I'm going to go ahead and end the show. I don't know if you got any final words or not, but I'm going to go ahead and end the show because I have some other things I need to take care of. But I truly appreciate all of you who came in. And for those of you who will catch the replay, I truly appreciate you guys as well. Shout out to all of you for being in the building. And again, guys, my final words are, I would just be absolutely careful with working with Shakim Ra. If you really feel like you have to, or if you still are working with him right now or something, I would be very careful with him because now you've been warned. You've seen it. You've heard about it. You've seen it more than once. And yeah, I don't have any dog in that fight when it comes to him and Photon. But at the end of the day, I definitely feel like I felt the same. Like it just felt so familiar with what I experienced with this dude. And yeah, I just wanted y'all to know that. So I hope you guys are doing great and have a wonderful day as we will. And again, I truly appreciate you guys and thank you guys for watching.